Hello and welcome to another video along the Derrin and Flan Trail. I'm in Liamore today, which is a monastic site going back to a foundation by St. Mochimo. It's a funny sounding name, sounds a bit Italian, but he is Irish. And there is a Sheila na gig here, which I will show you in a minute. And this video is going to be about Sheila na gigs. What you see behind me there is the foundations of a round tower that was discovered not terribly long ago. And then there's another church ruin in the background. And I'm on top of the main church, so you get a really good view of the landscape. And I'm just going to show you, because we just discovered that there is a flock of geese. Is it a flock? I don't know. Which are just taking a rest here. There in the background, maybe. So don't see that every day. And I'll go downstairs and show you the Sheila. There she is. You have the head here, and then her body, and the most important part there. And we'll go and map them all. This is only the first one. I have 2 more examples for you, or maybe even 3. We'll see. Before we go into the mapping, I want to recommend 2 books. The first one is by Barbara Freitag. I think it was published first in 2004 by Routledge in London, and it's called Sheila na gig's Unraveling an Enigma. And I have to admit, I didn't read the whole book, but it has a catalogue of all the Sheila na gigs that she investigated in, and I used it for the Wikipedia articles in the catalogue section in the info box. And you can get it in your local library. If your library in Ireland doesn't have it, you can order it from any library in Ireland. I think the one I got was from Sligo. Doesn't matter. The second book is by Eamon P. Kelly, and it was published by the National Museum in Dublin earlier than 2004. I can't remember now. And it puts them more into an architectural context, which is also important because it kind of maybe helps date them. And those are the 2 books I would recommend. There are more books you can read, and there are websites as well. You'll find a list in the Wikipedia article about Sheila na gigs, which I'm sure you're intelligent enough to find yourself. And now we'll go and look at the mapping of the Sheila na gig in Liamore. So this is the site in Liamore, and I went there for the first time about 4 years ago. I can't really remember. And I started mapping it back then. So a lot of it is already mapped, and I can't show you what I'm doing because it's already done, but the Sheila is here, and I'll show you. I'm going into the map data, and hopefully I'm able to click on the right thing. Yeah, because there's also a style, a squeezer style right next to it, so that makes it a bit difficult to find the right dot, but it's this one here. And on the side you see the main tag is artwork subject equals Sheila na gig, and then that is based on tourism artwork. So you have to have these 2. These are the 2 main tags you need, or keys. Artwork subject, Sheila na gig with hyphens, and then tourism artwork. And then you can add a lot of more information. You can add the artwork type, which is either sculpture or relief. I don't know how to pronounce that. And they're usually reliefs. And then you can also add the historic civilization, medieval. And because they're thought to be dating from the 12th century onwards, which is medieval, you can add the material, which is usually stone. There are some wooden ones, and there were more. There was an edict by a bishop of Waterford, I think, in the 17th century, that said to burn all the Sheilas. So there must have been a lot of wooden ones at some point, but they're all lost in Ireland. And then your source. And you can add the image file. If there is one on Wikimedia Commons, you can look that up and add that. And if there isn't one, go take a picture and upload it, please. And you can also add a Wikipedia link. Of course, that means you have to have a Wikipedia article about that Sheila na gig. Don't just use the general one about Sheila na gigs. It has to be about this specific one. So I went and I wrote 4 articles about them. So this is the Liamore one. And I based it on my own observations and, of course, on the Barbara Freitag book. Or maybe her name is pronounced Freitag, I don't know. In German it would be Freitag because it is Friday. So a bit of an introduction and some pictures and so on. And you just use this link here. So you just copy this. And then we go to edit. You have to be logged in with your username, of course, with your account. So this is what it looks like in the satellite view. I'll show you a bit more. So it's already highlighted. So you can just go down here and type Wikipedia. And then you have to add the language prefix, which is EN for English. If you want to write one in German, that's fine. You have to use DE or French, whatever your language is. And then should be able to just paste that. There's not much more I can do here because I've already mapped it several times. I'm just going to show you the satellite view without the OpenStreetMap data. Just disable that here. So you can see there's clearly a lot of crop marks on the site. This is the main chart here. When you visit the site, you can leave your car down here. The farm, there are a couple of parking spots, not an awful lot, and then you have to walk all that way. You can't drive there. There's cattle in the field and it's private land, so you have to walk there, around there, and you can go through the electric fence. You have to open it, close it after yourself so the cattle don't get in or out, and then you can walk across here roughly that way. This is the base of the round tower that they discovered. And then you can you can't go in that way because there's a gate here. It is locked. So you have to go around and go in that way. That's actually where the squeezer style is. And then you can also visit this tiny little church ruin here. But there's a lot going on here. And in the introduction, where the geese were probably here somewhere. And you will just enable the OpenStreetMap data again. And save what I've just done, which wasn't a lot. And Wikipedia link, sources, Wikipedia, hashtag maybe, Sheila na gig, and upload. And when we go to the main page now, out of the editing mode, it changes nothing in the appearance, but if I enable the data layer and I click on the Sheila again, it now has the Wikipedia link here, and you could click that and go to Wikipedia and you would end up with this page. And same if you wanted to click on the Wikimedia Commons link, you could do that. And it brings you to this picture that I also took. My internet is very slow again today. It's the big reveal now. There she is now. And you can see the gate as well. I won't wait now. Just like having a modem. And if you have your own website and you don't want to upload it to Wikicommons, but please do, you can upload an image there and then also link that, and you use image link for that. You don't use Wikimedia Commons as the key. It's just image link and then whatever the URL is. So this is the first one. I'll disable the map data. The second one I want to map, and it isn't mapped yet, is the one in Feathered. There are actually two in Feathered. So I'll just look it up here. Feathered Abbey, I think that's what I called it. Feathered Abbey, Sheila na gig. And I mainly use the names that Barbara Freitag uses. Apart from, well, I only wrote 4 articles. There was one in Kiltynan Church, which is also in Tipperary. It's not far from Feathered, but it's stolen. And she spells Kiltynan differently than it is spelled on Loganim and also on OpenStreetMap. So I'm sticking to the OpenStreetMap or Loganem spelling, because I'm hoping that's what people are looking for. So, Feathered Abbey, Sheila na gig, that's what you click on it in a second to show you a bigger picture. It's on the grounds of the Augustinian Abbey in Feathered. It's quite accessible on foot, and it's probably moved, so that's going to be one of the tags that I'm going to use. I'm just going to click on it to show you. It looks a bit like a monkey, I think. So there it is. It's kind of a monkey face with really big ears, and then an emaciated upper body where you can see the ribs and so on. The important part is probably hacked off for religious reasons, or I don't know, prudity. And you can kind of see from the context that it is moved. That's not its original location, but at least it is accessible now. Please don't destroy it any more than it already is. And yeah, so I'll leave this open and I'll go to Feathered on the map. Just zoom out and in again. Feathered. So we're leaving the Derry na Fleadh trail now. So there is the Augustinian Abbey, and the Sheila is in this wall here. So I've already added the wall just to make it easier for me. So edit. And I use the point because it's small enough, and it's roughly here. And use the point, and the first tag we have to use is tourism. Spelling is very important. Artwork. And then the main tag is artwork. Subject, Sheila. So I haven't mapped enough, so it doesn't come up yet. So it has been moved, so we can indicate that because it's not in its original location. Moved, yes. It is historic. Historic, yes. The material, I can't tell from looking at the stone. Do I have that written down somewhere? No. Well, I can put in the direction because it's facing this way. Because with walls, sometimes you don't know, do I access it from the graveyard or do I have to kind of get in from here? But it's facing that way. So the direction, and you have to kind of wiggle that around a bit. I'd say maybe, so up is 360, that's 180. So it's probably 330, we'll see how that goes. Oh yeah, could even go with 335. Yeah, that's working. The historic civilization, medieval, and historic heritage, yes. There should be a way to add the National Monuments number, but we haven't quite figured that out. I usually just use ref NMS for National Monument Service, but somebody has pointed out that I actually should use a country identifier because in some other country NMS might stand for something completely different. It's not figured out yet, so we'll leave that out. Okay, so Wikipedia, and we'll just use this here again. Copy and paste, and not to forget the language prefix. And for the image, we'll use Wikimedia Commons. And I'll just click on this again, and it's up here. You have to include the file bit. It doesn't have a Wikidata entry. Unfortunately, none of them have. That might happen at some point. I think that should do for now. Sources. Wikipedia, semicolon, survey, because I was there. should do. And save that. Added Sheila na gig. Hashtag Sheila na gig. Sources. And it's the same sources as before. Wikipedia survey. And upload. And I'll wait for a little bit. And then refresh the page. So you can park your car if you're coming by car. But the bus stop is also here. You can park your car out here. That's the town hall. It's the Museum of Horse County Experience or something. It's a very horsey county. And you can go and see that as well. And then you can walk up the Rocklow Road and see the North Gate, which is impressive. It's the only remaining gate in the town wall. And it still has the wicker impressions that you can see. And you can have food in McCarthy's or in Duke's. Those are places I've been to that are good. I've also been to this cafe, which I don't have the name of. It's Ukrainian run. And we've also been to Emily's Deli. They're all good. The other Sheila na gig is down here. You see it's already mapped. And I think there was a book written, was it a Danish guy, Jørgen Andersen. And I think he called it The Witch in the Wall, and it's actually named after this one, allegedly. It's very ugly. It's very, very ugly. We're just going to go back to the Augustinian Abbey. Refresh. And there she is now. So that's the symbol for artwork. And I'll just click on the map data to show you that's all the stuff that we've just added there. On the left hand side, and close this. The other one is the Kiltynan Church. That's the stolen one. And I got the poster from the Historical Society in Feathered as well. And then I have another Sheila na gig for you. And I'll take you on a little trip. So this one, as you can see, is now in Kilkenny in Rose House. She's one of my steadiest colleagues in Rose House. And it's one of those cases where they are put in a museum for safekeeping. And she hasn't been on display all the time because people took offense or it got unwanted attention, whatever that means. But it's on display now, as you could see in the video. And that's it there. And we'll see what data it has. It takes a bit longer now because there's a lot going on in Kilkenny. It's a bit different than Feathered. So we have the artwork, sculpture, and so on. I want to add the Wikipedia link and the moved. Oh, it's already moved. Okay, then just the Wikipedia article. But you see, the moved one is very obvious because it's in a museum. I'm not sure that you should do that with all the ones that are in the National Museum in Dublin. There are quite a few. But this is only one, and it's accessible. Most of the ones in the National Museum aren't accessible because they are in storage. So we'll go in there, and I'll just have to go to the right one here in Wikipedia. And Wikipedia, and not to forget the language prefix. We have the image there, and yeah, and I'll save this. That was quick. I don't have a lot of examples that I can show you that I hadn't mapped before. I'm sorry about that. I was just a bit over eager to map them. Added Wikipedia link, and I can just use whatever was there already. Source Wikipedia. And that is that. We'll just have another look at the tags keys. Nope. Difficult to find the right dot now. Yeah, so as I said before, the main one is tourism artwork, then artwork subject Sheila and the Gig. So when we search for them in Overpass Turbo, we find all the Sheila and the Gigs under the same key and tag. You can add height and width. This one doesn't have historic, yes, and heritage, yes, yet. And the material, if you're any good at that, I'm not sure if there's any use in putting stone down because they're all made of stone. It would be maybe more interesting to know if it's limestone or granite or sandstone or whatever. Historic civilization, most of them will be medieval, but there are ones that are modern because they're street art. There was an example in Three Castles, but I couldn't get a good picture of it. You can map those as well. They wouldn't be heritage, they wouldn't be historic, and they certainly wouldn't be historic civilization medieval because they're modern. And also the artwork type might be something different than sculpture. It might be ceramics or tile. That one I think is a tile. There's no access to it. Some people must have the key to it, but for the general public there's no access to the one in Three Castles. You can also upload images of those to Wikimedia Commons or Flickr, and then they might go to Wiki Commons anyway, and they probably don't deserve their own Wikipedia article if it's just street art. If they're by a famous artist, it might be a different case. There's not just street art about that in Ireland. A friend sent me a photograph from Magdeburg in Germany, and that could be called a Sheila and the Gig. It looks like an alien, but there's text around it that suggests that it's kind of like a Sheila and the Gig. But that's the Sheilas, and there's loads more to explore. If you get your hands on the list by Barbara Freitag, or if you get your hands on the website that I will link in the description, you'll find more of them. And please, please, please do not copy any other maps, especially not the Historic Environment Viewer, and especially not any maps that people have made on Google Maps, because that's a no-no. We can't do that on OpenStreetMap. You have to go yourself, visit the site, and confirm the location. People might have gotten it wrong. Apart from the copyright breach, people might have gotten it wrong on their Google map, and the Historic Environment Viewer isn't without fault. So the Sheila and the Gig in Leamore was on the wrong church. By copying, you might make mistakes, and they might have put them in the wrong place on purpose to catch people out, copying their maps. I don't know. Dictionaries do that, and lexicons do that. Why not the books themselves, but the people writing them, putting mistakes in there or putting fake articles in to catch people out copying their work. So please go and visit them. It'll be enjoyable and interesting, and then you can confirm the location, and then you can add them to OpenStreetMap. And if you take a picture of them and upload it to Wiki Commons, that's even more proof that you've actually been there. And you're doing the world a favor by contributing to Wikipedia, which is always a good idea. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to, because I'm only spending money on these videos. I'm not making any money off them. And a big thank you to Anne, who drove me all around Tipperary, and all the other people that have inspired me to do this video. And thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Slán.